What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I apologize if my voice gives out a little bit. I'm still trying to regain my voice. You guys saw my channel update, or if you have any Arizona Cardinals fans, you guys want to see your season recap on your team, this is the spot to be at. Make sure you subscribe for anything new. I do New York Giants videos, and I do all NFL videos as well. So, all that being said, this starts my series. I'm going to be going in draft order. I'm going to be doing season recaps and 2019 season previews for each individual team, all 32 teams. I don't know if it's going to be consecutive 32 days, but you guys just got to be patient with me, and we'll get this going. And right around February, mid-February, you should see the end of it. So, all that being said, let's get right on to the video. Alright, guys, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, it's hard to believe that the Arizona Cardinals were looked at as the best team in the NFC West. They made the playoffs a couple years with Carson Palmer, and they were actually a pretty good team. You had guys like Carson Palmer, who was an aging quarterback, but was pretty good. You had Josh Brown. You had Calais Campbell. Patrick Peterson, he's still great. You had your Tyrann Mathieu. You had a bunch of guys on that team, and David Johnson as well. And he's still on there, but not, he's not doing as well because of that offensive line. But you had a pretty good squad there in Arizona. It's hard to believe that it just went down a cliff. The roster is obviously the worst in the NFL. It's obvious they deserve the number one pick in the draft because their roster does not look that well. They have no cap room whatsoever to make moves. They're going to have to release some guys, make some room. I don't know who that would be, but they have to make some room because it's not like they have star players to begin with besides David Johnson and Patrick Peterson, but you have to try to make some room, whether that's trading Patrick Peterson or David Johnson or both of them, to try to get some cap space, because you have $5.9 million in cap space, and that's just not enough for the holes you have on this team. Almost every single position is a need for this team. I do want to get on to their record and stuff like that. Their record was 3-13, number one pick in the draft, fourth in the NFC West. Let's go over some team stats. Offensively, they're scoring 14.1 points per game. That's a whopping total of 2 touchdowns per game. That is ridiculous for how much points they are also giving up, which is almost double that at 26.6 points a game. And you look at the yards per game that they are gaining. It's dead last in the league. By the way, all the offensive stats, the major offensive stats for the Arizona Cardinals are dead last. They are 32nd in every single category in these 4 categories: points per game, yards per game, passing yards per game, and rushing yards per game. So really the yards per game is pretty much pass yards and rush yards put together. And it's hard to believe that they're dead last in the running game because they have David Johnson, but they weren't able to get David Johnson the ball enough. Even when they did give him the ball, he wasn't able to do with it as he usually does when he first started in the league, because that offensive line was beat up. The offensive line was torn down. You had your injuries in Justin Pugh, who's a pretty good run blocker, pretty good pass blocker. Justin Pugh. You have A.Q. Shipley, the pretty good center. DJ Humphries went down. Everybody on that offensive line went down. Mason Cole at center, your third-round pick, wound up being the Iron Man for that offensive line. Has done well. A lot of people saying he has his ups and downs, but a lot of people are saying they're very excited about Mason Cole, and so he should stay there at center. I think A.Q. Shipley might be a free agent. If not, it could be time to let him go. Who knows? He's not showing up on my free agents list right now, but yeah, that offensive line needs some work. Josh Rosen was sacked a total of 45 times. That is not good, especially when you have a young quarterback like that. He might get the Eli Manning syndrome. He might get a little schizophrenic. He might see stuff that isn't there. When he's in a clean pocket, he might get scared and panic because he feels like there's always a pass rush. He feels like there's always someone breathing down his neck. That's something Eli Manning has fallen victim to late in his career, and that's not a good look for Josh Rosen, getting sacked as much times as he has early in his career, because he's going to get that schizophrenic feeling, and he's going to go down when he shouldn't go down. He's going to throw terrible balls when he has a clean pocket because he's scared of the pass rush. And their defense is terrible as well. You remember the Cleveland Browns? I believe it was last year they went 0-16. They went 0-16 last year, and they had an above average defense. They had like a 15th ranked defense, or just about average defense, a little I don't know, it was in top 10, top 15 defense in the NFL. So their defense was pretty good, mediocre at best, but they were pretty good. They were fine, but their offense couldn't get anything done. And this is not the case for the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals offense is terrible, and so is the defense. Like I said before, they're giving up almost 27 points a game. Their yards that they're giving up is 358. That's 20th in the league. Okay, that's whatever. Passing is 203 passing yards a game, which is not a lot. That ranks 4th in the NFL, which is good. But the only reason why it ranks 4th in the NFL, the reason why teams aren't passing the ball on the Cardinals is because they can run the ball on the Cardinals. They're 32nd in the league when it comes to giving up the run, the yards per run. They're giving up 154 yards per game. Per game. A lot of teams don't do that per game. They're giving up that much per game. And you guys know the best way to win football games is to run the ball, control the time of possession, have the team's offense make them throw the ball so they can make mistakes and stop the clock, give your team more time to score so you guys are in more control. When you dominate time of possession, when you dominate the run on your offense, you can dominate the other team. That's just how football works. That is the easiest way to win a football game is to run the ball. So teams are running the ball on this team, and there's no need to pass the ball. There's no need. So with all that being said, let's go on to their best game and their worst game. I'm going to say their best game was at Green Bay. I get Green Bay only has like 5 wins on the season or something like that. But you know, you're facing Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field, and they were able to pull out that win. Congratulations to the Arizona Cardinals of doing that. We might see Green Bay on a little slippery slope right now, but I think that's a good morale win for Arizona. On top of that, they did sweep San Francisco. I don't know how much significance that holds, but they did sweep San Francisco. I guess that's good as well, but it is what it is. I guess you can say the last game of the season as well. They stuck to Seattle pretty well the last game of the season. Not that that matters anything, but they lost by 3. I guess that means something. But I'm going to say their best game was when they won against Green Bay at Lambeau Field 20-17. I'm going to say their worst game is when they got shut out by the Rams 34-0. They couldn't get anything going, moving the ball down the field. And, you know, Los Angeles pretty much won that game single-handedly by halftime. We now move on to the player stats. We're going to start off with the quarterback, the face of the franchise in Josh Rosen, rookie quarterback out of UCLA. You love him, you hate him. He's Josh Rosen. I didn't like Josh Rosen coming out the draft. I told this to everybody. He's not my favorite quarterback out of this draft. It was definitely Baker Mayfield, and then I was second with Sam Darnold. So Josh Rosen was right in that middle range, at 3rd or 4th, somewhere around there, as far as rookie quarterbacks last year's draft. But Josh Rosen, I don't think you can blame everything on Josh Rosen. He doesn't have as much weapons. His best weapon is past his prime, Larry Fitzgerald. Is Larry Fitzgerald still good? Yes, he's good, but he's the leading receiver of this team. He only has 730 yards. He has a 10.6 yard reception average. Yards per reception. That is not very good for an elite wide receiver. He's definitely past his prime. And the guy with the most yards per reception is Cristian Kirk with 13.7. You have to get that big play. Odell always averages about 16, 17 a year. So when it comes to that, you need a big play wide receiver. They just don't have that here. On top of that, their offensive line is terrible. They can't run block for anything. Sure, David Johnson almost had 1,000 yards in a season. He almost did, but they don't even have a complimentary back. It's all leaning towards David Johnson. That's why they're 32nd in the league running the ball. And on top of that, you don't have any much more weapons after that. You don't have a complimentary running back. You don't have a very good tight end. You could say what you want about Ricky Seals-Jones. Everybody loves him, but he's not an elite tight end. He's not even an above average tight end. He's an athletic tight end that everybody likes to see because he has some speed, but he's just not going to get it done. He's not going to be this big play weapon that the Arizona Cardinals need. So Josh Rosen totaled the season with 2,200 yards, almost 2,300 yards, 55.2 completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and a quarterback rating. There's a difference, obviously, QBR and quarterback rating, even though they mean the same thing. quarterback rating. I think that's 1 to 100. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's 1 to 100, or 1 to 158. Oh no, I think that's 1 to 158. He had a 66.7 total from 0 to 158 point, something like that. So obviously, he wasn't the best quarterback, and that's due to him not being the best quarterback, and that's also due, in fact, that offense is absolutely terrible, and he is not the reason why they're dead last in that category. We look at the leading rushers for the Arizona Cardinals. David Johnson, 258 attempts, 940 yards, 3.6 yards per run. Yards per carry. That is not very good for an elite running back. I need my elite running back to at least have 4.2 to 4.3 and above. I don't like to see that. Anything in the threes is kind of disgusting. And I don't blame that on David Johnson. He's a very good runner. It's that offensive line. Quite frankly, it's that offensive line. He had 7 touchdowns on the year, so great job by David Johnson. Chase Edmunds, the rookie, had a pretty decent rookie year with what he's been given, with what team he's on, and the offensive line, once again, 60 carries, 208 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. Not too shabby for the rookie running back from the 4th round. We look at the leading wide receivers, the leading receivers on the Arizona Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald, 69 receptions, 734 yards. Like I said, 10.6 yards per reception, not very good. A long of 37, longest reception 37, and 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns, not too bad. David Johnson, it comes in second, 50 receptions, 446 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Cristian Kirk, the rookie wide receiver that everybody was crazy about from Texas A&M, the 2nd round pick. I liked him. I thought he could have went in the 1st round, and I think he will get better as the season goes. It kind of reminds me of just a little bit taller of Sterling Shepard, so I do like Cristian Kirk. 43 catches, 590 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Ricky Seals-Jones comes in 4th with 34 receptions, 343 yards, and 1 touchdown. We look at the defensive players. You have Antoine Bethea from San Francisco, now with the Arizona Cardinals. Been there for a couple years now. He was your leading tackler, 120 total tackles, 99 solo, 3 sacks and 1 forced fumble. Pretty much the only bright spot of this Arizona Cardinals team. Also, Budda Baker, the 2nd-year guy. A lot of people were comparing him to Tyrann Mathieu, and that's when they shipped Tyrann Mathieu out of there and brought in Budda Baker, and he's been doing just fine there in that Arizona Cardinals defensive scheme without James Betcher there. Now he's on the Giants, as you guys may know. Budda Baker, 102 tackles, 78 solo, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. He's pretty much a Swiss Army knife for that Arizona Cardinals defense, just like what Tyrann Mathieu was for that team. You look at the sack leader, Chandler Jones, another lone bright spot of this Arizona Cardinals team, one of the most elite pass rushers in the league, but nobody ever looks his way because nobody ever wants to watch the Arizona Cardinals. It's just pretty frank to say. I apologize to any Arizona Cardinals fans watching this, but I mean, they weren't very pleasant to watch. And then you have the interceptions leader. That's Tre Boston, who was signed late in the offseason. They just brought him in. No teams were looking his way after I believe he last played for the Chargers or the Panthers, one of those 2 teams. But he's a pretty good safety. I don't know why nobody really wanted him on their team. He's still young. I believe he's 26 to 27 years old. I would still have him on my team. I would sign him. No problem. I believe he's a free agent as well. I hope the Giants pick up Tre Boston. He's a pretty good player, and he wound up leading the team in interceptions. So, the Cardinals would be smart enough to try to re-sign him. Like I said, the cap is an issue. They might not be able to re-sign any of these free agents that they need to keep, but we'll see what happens. Patrick Peterson comes in second in interceptions, by the way, with 2 interceptions. You look at the overall draft. We're going to look at the draft right now. Their draft picks, Josh Rosen, I think he's going to be a good starter for you. Do I think he's going to lead you to a Super Bowl win? I'm not too sure of that. I have to see more, but I'm not leaning on that bandwagon yet. But Josh Rosen could still be a very good pick for you guys. Just learn to develop him more. You have to find a way to protect him. It wasn't smart you drafting a quarterback for the future and not securing that offensive line first. You have to try to do that. I get you have Justin Pugh. I get you have Mike Iupati, but you don't have anything besides that. Mike Iupati's old. You have to find a way to replace him. Justin Pugh has injury problems. You should know that from the New York Giants. He always has injury problems. You have to find a way to get some more Iron Man type players in there. You started for pretty well there at center with Mason Cole. So Josh Rosen, like I said, pretty good pick. Hopefully he does well in the next season. Cristian Kirk should be a good compliment for you, but he's not going to be a number one wide receiver. He's a slot receiver at best. You have to get a better wide receiver for Josh Rosen. Mason Cole, the 3rd round pick, I think that's a very solid pick. I think you done pretty well with that pick there. Running back Chase Edmunds, I think that was a very good pick as well. I thought you could have went in a different direction in this draft, like a cornerback or a pass rusher instead of a running back. But I see what you wanted to do there and getting David Johnson, a complimentary back. So I can see what you did there. I think that was a pretty good draft pick there in the 4th round. You look at cornerback Chris Campbell. I don't think he did much for you this season. He's a 6th round pick. So there's that. Offensive tackle Corey Cunningham, obviously. Haven't seen much of him. Probably due to injury problems is the most you'll see out of Corey Cunningham. So overall, I'm going to give this draft a B-. I don't think it was a terrible draft. I thought they could have went in other directions, but I could see what they were trying to do there. They drafted Josh Rosen. They try to get him a weapon. They try to get someone to protect him, and then they try to get a complimentary back for David Johnson. They tried focusing on this offense a little too much, and it forced the offense to try to do more than they had to. That's why they only scored 14 points per game. Their defense was pretty bad, so they had to try to find a way to make points happen, but they couldn't just make it happen. So your top 5 needs in this draft, in this offseason, whether that be the draft or free agency. Offensive line. Anywhere on the offensive line besides center. I think you're pretty solid at center with Mason Cole and A.Q. Shipley there. So both those two guys, you can't really go wrong. But A.Q. Shipley is getting a little old. He's 32 years old. I think Mason Cole is a perfect replacement for that. You got to find a way to get a better guard. At right guard, you have Mike Upati at right guard. He is older. I don't think he's going to be around the league any longer. He is a free agent. I believe he's a free agent. So you have to try to find a way to replace him. And then Justin Pugh has injury problems. I don't think that was a very good signing there for, to bring in Justin Pugh like that. DJ Humphries, you could shift him out to right tackle or something like that. He is a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker. So DJ Humphries could be shifted to right tackle and try to find a better left tackle. I don't know if you want to trade back into the 1st round and try to get yourself a better left tackle. I will look at the free agents for the left tackles. There is absolutely no options at left tackle for this season free agency unless a big left tackle gets cut, like a big name left tackle gets cut. We may see that. We don't know, just because due to, maybe cap reasons or whatever. You never know if Joe Staley gets cut somehow, since they have Mike McGlinchey there. They might want to move him to left tackle. Who knows? You may have that opportunity, especially it's from the division. Free agents usually sign within the division. So maybe you can get someone like a Joe Staley or whatever. But the best left tackle in this free agency is probably a Cedric Abui or a Ty Neshke or a Donovan Smith. That is the best you're going to get right now at left tackle. I don't know if you're even going to sign one of these guys, but you have to find a way to get DJ Humphries from left tackle to right tackle. Try to get yourself a better left tackle option. For defensive end, you have the perfect candidate. I had the perfect candidate for defensive end. That is Allen Bailey, the 3-4 defensive end from the Kansas City Chiefs, who had a pretty good season along with the likes of a D Ford and a Chris Jones. Allen Bailey has impressed as well with 6 sacks totaling on the season. You can definitely sign him, bring him into that 3-4 defense you guys already run over there, and you guys can't go wrong there. In the draft, you may want to get a Quinnen Williams. I know Joey Bosa looks like a great pick, but I don't know if he's going to quite fit this offense because I think he's more of a outside linebacker. I think you need some big guys up front, in my honest opinion. I think you need some big guys up front, but you can't go, if I said Joey Bosa, I'm sorry, I meant Nick Bosa. But you can't go Nick Bosa. I think you can't go wrong with Quinnen Williams or Nick Bosa. I just think the pick that more makes sense is Quinnen Williams. But if you draft Nick Bosa, I am not going to blame you whatsoever. He's an absolute monster. But I do think Quinnen Williams is the best bet, just because you have a problem stopping the run, a huge problem stopping the run, and you have to get a pass rush going. So I do think Quinnen Williams is the best option. All right, guys, let's shift on to the free agents. You have first up Larry Fitz, Mr. Stickum Larry Fitz. And I'm not saying he wears Stickum, I'm just saying he doesn't drop the ball. But Larry Fitzgerald, you have to re-sign him. I mean, if Larry Fitzgerald wants to go to a championship team, please let him. Please, he's one of my favorite players of all time. I love watching him ever since I was a kid. I love watching Larry Fitzgerald. He's a great guy on and off the field. If he wants to leave, let him leave. But he loves the Arizona Cardinals so much. I don't see him leaving. He says already that he's fine in Arizona. He loves Arizona. He loves the fans. He loves the environment. He loves all that. It just sucks that, with Carson Palmer in those years, like 2015, 2014, something like that, they had a chance to make a Super Bowl run. They just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. I wanted Larry Fitzgerald to at least get an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. That sucks. But Larry Fitzgerald is a must-sign. Restructure his contract, please. I know he's getting older, but you have to let him know he's getting older, and you need cap space. You really do need cap space. But I don't know if you're going to be able to re-sign him with that cap. 5.9 is you can't even sign a decent to average player with $5.9 million. One of those players with $5.9 million in cap. So you have to restructure that roster somehow. Like I said, you're gonna have to trade Patrick Peterson. You're gonna have to trade David Johnson. I don't know what that's gonna leave you with. You're gonna have to draft a running back and draft another cornerback, because those two guys got to go if you guys want any free agents or any type of big player names on this team. You look at Mike Iupati, just let him go. He's going to want some big money, and he's getting older. Mike Iupati, just let him go. Kicker Phil Dawson, let him go. You have Zane Gonzalez there. He performed better than Phil Dawson this year. After Phil Dawson went down, Zane Gonzalez did perform better. Not much better, but he did perform better. So you get and keep Zane Gonzalez there. And then you look at Deon Buchanan. I say you keep Deon Buchanan. I think he's a pretty decent linebacker in the league. I like these safeties. I wasn't on board at first, but I do like these safety hybrid linebackers because they just bring in a whole different aspect of speed and range to the linebacker position that we haven't seen in a while. I love the hybrid look of these teams. Safeties turning into linebackers. I love the idea. So keep Deon Buchanan. Free safety, Tre Boston, keep him. Please keep him. Definitely underrated in this league, and obviously he led you guys in interceptions, so try to keep Tre Boston. Defensive end, Benson Mayowa. I think you can just sign him for some depth. I don't think he will want too much. Defensive end, Marques Golden. In his rookie season, I believe it was rookie season or sophomore, correct me if I'm wrong, he had 11.5 sacks. That's pretty good. A lot of people saying he's going to be an instant star talent. He was still in, the third round or something like that? You guys drafted him, or second round? But, from there on, I think this season he totaled like 2.5 sacks. Just let him go. He's going to demand, obviously demand starter status. Just let him go. Try to get somebody else in there, obviously, like a Nick Bosa, like a Quinn Williams. Do something there. I just don't think Marques Golden is the right spot for you. Tight end, John Phillips. Don't know who even that is. Let him go. Try to get yourself a better tight end. Right tackle, Joe Barksdale. Let him go. Like I said, try to get DJ Humphries onto that right tackle side, and then try drafting a left tackle. Like I said, you could trade up in the second. You could trade up in the first round, back into the first round, or you can wait to the second round to get yourself a pretty good, decent left tackle. So try to do that. You have inside linebacker Gerald Hodges. Now, Gerald Hodges used to play for the Giants for a little bit, and I really like what he did in that short stint for us. He played for the 49ers. He played for the Vikings. Everywhere he's went, he's played well. I just don't know why teams don't want to keep him around. He is a pretty good player. Just keep Gerald Hodges there. I believe Gerald Hodges played for you guys before. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's played with you guys before, and he's came back to Arizona. Keep him there, do me a favor. He should be solid for you at that middle linebacker position. We now look at fullback Derrick Coleman. Derrick Coleman's, I think, been on the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's played for those two teams. If you want to keep him around, you can. Don't really care about fullbacks as it is. So that being said, we move on to guard Ode Abushi. I don't know who that is, but you need to just leave. All right. Anyway, defensive tackle Rodney Gunter. I'd say keep him around. Pretty good player. Pretty solid player for at that defensive tackle position. Defensive end Zach Moore. Who are you? Let him go. Left tackle Jeremy Vunjavich. Don't really know who that is. He's a free agent. Let him go. He's going to compete for that left tackle position. Don't even worry about it. Right tackle John Wetzel. If you want to keep him around for some, if you want to keep around Jeremy Vucevic or Vujnovic or Wetzel, right tackle Wetzel, for some competition, who cares? I don't really care. But I'm talking about these guys as if they were competing for a job here or starting. Defensive tackle Olsen Pierre, don't really care. Wide receiver J.J. Nelson, I'd say keep him around. I think you could sign up for something small. He is a very good vertical threat. He's a smaller guy and it does deal with some injuries, I believe. But I think you could keep him around. I think you should keep him around just to add that little spiciness for that Arizona Cardinals offense. You do need some kind of spiciness there for that team. Something that's stretched the field, something a big play type of guy that's not really your number one receiver, but he's your secret weapon. So that being said, safety / linebacker Jeremy Cash. Like I said, I like these hybrids. I say keep him around for a cheap deal, 1 year deal, quick little 1 year deal. Once again, try to keep him around. Running back DJ Foster, they call him wide receiver on Sports Track, don't know why. But for some running back competition for that second running back spot, with Chase Edmunds there, I think you can re-sign him there or just bring him back as the third running back. I like DJ Foster, former running back for the New England Patriots. Inside linebacker Gabe Martin, don't know too much about him, but if you want to add some competition, don't care. Then some other guys, don't really care, but Ricky Seals-Jones is probably the other big name. You could re-sign him. Not too big of a big fan of the Ricky Seals-Jones, but if you want to keep him around for some competition or bring him back as a second tight end option, I don't mind that whatsoever, but try to find yourself a better tight end option. I'm actually going to look that for the Arizona Cardinals right now. So for the Arizona Cardinals, you do have some good options for at tight end. It's not the best. Tyler Eifert's been dealing with some major injuries. I'd say you stay away from Tyler Eifert. I know he's a big name talent. He just can't stay healthy. You look at Jared Cook. He's 32 years old, yes, but he's been on the money. He's gonna be a free agent. I don't imagine Oakland re-signing him just because everybody. John Gruden just loves to get rid of people. So I don't think Jared Cook will be making a return to the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders. So you can make a bounce on him, but that's if you trying to make a championship team and you just want to sign a guy for a quick deal. I suggest you get somebody that's a little younger. There's not any young guys in here. You're looking at the youngest guy. Is Max Williams. He's going to be a free agent for the Baltimore Ravens. You're going to look at everybody else is in their 30s. Richard Rodgers at 27. Richard Rodgers isn't a bad option whatsoever on a quick 3-year deal or something like that. Scott Simonson, he's not going to be a number one tight end for you. Tyler Kroft is not a bad option. Another tight end from Cincinnati. He's 26. So you have some options there. You have Luke Wilson, who's 29. You have some options there. Try to get yourself a decent tight end. If you want to keep Ricky Seals-Jones as another tight end, you could run some 2 tight end sets. Try to run that ball. Try to run that ball a little bit more with David Johnson. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I hope to do all these. I really like doing this. I really like breaking down teams and trying to giving them a good preview and what I think they should do in the offseason. If you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, trust me, I have no hate for you guys whatsoever. I'm just giving you the straight out truth. If you guys want to have a decent discussion, leave it in the comment section below. I always read comments and we can get a discussion going about your team. I would love to get that going. And if I mistaked, because I don't know everything about your team. If I said somebody was trash on your team that you actually think is a dark horse on this team that you really like on this team, let me know. And that can definitely help me, learn your team better. So all that being said, if you guys like the video, make sure you guys like the video, comment, like I said, your thoughts, and subscribe. If you're new, ring that notification bell so you never miss a video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.